Today's episode of Namaste Yoga begins a new series on yoga stories, and today's yoga story is about the lotus flower. Hello, welcome to episode 2. Here's our blanket, excellent. Asymmetrical dropping and sinking. Notice how joining us for the second episode of next week. Namaste. Hello and welcome to episode 80 of Namaste Yoga. I'm so delighted you could all join us today. I want to thank all of you who have taken the time to go to Facebook and to like Namaste Yoga. And thank you so much for leaving your comments there and sending your feedback on the podcast. I so appreciate hearing how you're enjoying Namaste Yoga. Also, it would really help us if you could go to iTunes and find the Namaste Yoga podcast there and leave your feedback and comments and rate the show there. That really helps us improve our rankings and help more people know about this free weekly yoga video podcast. And while I'm at it, I want to thank all the people who have donated to Namaste Yoga. This really helps a lot for us to be able to carve out the time each week to record this podcast and all the post-production work and pre-production, and it's a lot of work to put these together. So we appreciate your help, and your donations really help us to compensate for our time and all the equipment that we use here to make this show happen. So you can go to my website, www.melissawest, MELISSAWEST.com, and you'll see right on the homepage there on the left-hand side you can make a donation. And while you're there, sign up for our newsletter. Once this goes up, I'm going to be sending out a written version of these stories each week as well in the newsletter. So it would be great for you to sign up for that as well while you're there. Okay, so today's episode is about the lotus flower. I think the only props you'll need this week are a yoga block, and the other thing you may need is a strap, depending on the flexibility in your hips. Today's class is about lotus pose, which is a seated pose that requires a lot of flexibility in your ankles and your hips, so we'll be working with that today. So go ahead and rest back, and I'll start to share the story of the lotus flower with you, the symbolism and the mythology. It's not a very long story, but it's one that is really prevalent within the yoga culture, the Indian culture, and Hindu cultures. So the lotus flower has its roots in the muddy waters, and the flower blooms above the water without becoming dirty at all from the mire below. And this is really significant because what it means for us, what we take from it, the metaphor from it, is that no matter how muddy and mucky our lives, we have the potential to become these beautiful flowers that have been untouched by that mud or muck, but that help to form us, right? It's the mud and the mire that helps to create our beautiful flowering essence. The lotus's unfolding petals suggest the expansion of the soul. And the lotus flower is symbolic of purity of body, speech, and mind. And while it's rooted in the mud, its flowers blossom on long stalks as if floating above the muddy waters. And the muddy waters can be said to be symbolic of attachment and desire. Even the lotus flower is symbolic of detachment, as water is known to really slide very easily off its petals. Now, the lotus flower is definitely an example of how something beautiful can emerge from something ugly and distasteful. In us, the flower is said to be of great spiritual progress that can emerge from the mud and muck of our karma if we make consistent efforts to improve and grow. So even the most foul karma can create the most beautiful flowers. The lotus flower is attached to a lot of the Hindu deities, gods and goddesses, particularly Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the goddess of beauty and abundance. If you go way back, probably about a year ago now, we did a whole series around the Hindu deities, and we did do a class on Lakshmi, the goddess of beauty and abundance. And Lakshmi sits on the lotus flower as her throne. The lotus flower is also used interchangeably with the idea of chakras, and we just did a chakra series prior to the yoga philosophy series that we just did. So each one of the chakras can said to be a lotus flower, and just like the lotus flowers, our chakras can be open or closed, dying or budding, depending on the state of consciousness within and our interaction with the world. Also, you can think about the root chakra, the lotus flower at the root chakra, as the roots which go down into the mud and the muck. And then that rooted position of the lowest lotus flower in our chakras evolves up into the 1,000-petaled lotus at the crown of our head. So this is said to be the throne of our infinite consciousness. The lotus posture is a favorite meditation posture because it's a posture that we kind of locks us right in, allows the spine to be straight, and because of the way we lock into it, you can't fall forward or back. So I want you to reflect now on the lotus flower, the symbolism of it, and how it relates to your life, what's the life connection for you, and perhaps where in your life you're opening your lotus flower, what your intention is here. The dying flowers are definitely nothing to be worried about. In fact, this is just normal parts of cycles of our lives, and this kind of dying and going back into the mud and the muck is what helps us build these new flowers as well. So set your intention, your sankalpa, around what you would like to receive today, and perhaps it brings in the metaphor of the lotus in some way, shape, or form. Okay, we're going to stay lying down to begin today. We're going to do a little foot thing. That's a really technical term, huh? And it's great for releasing your hips. So maybe even before you take your leg up in the air, I want you to just have your legs long and feel your hips here. Just notice how this whole area feels. And then you can bend your knees. Let me give you a couple of options here. We're going to take your right leg into the air and straight up. So if that's easier to do with your left leg bent, you could keep your left leg bent, or you could straighten your left leg out. So I think I'm going to make life a little easier for myself this morning and keep my left knee bent. And then we're going to do a point and flex of the foot, but not just point, flex, point, flex. We're going to make it a lot more defined. So what you're going to do is drop your heel to begin, then press the ball of your foot towards the ceiling and point your toes. So it's a 3-pointed point, and then it's a 3-pointed flex. So draw your toes back, lift the ball of your foot, lift your heel. So heel goes down, ball of the foot presses, toes curl up, toes come back, ball of the foot lifts, heel lifts. And pay attention to what's happening in your femur bone, the top of your femur bone here. Probably feel some shifting through this action in your foot. Notice what's happening with your breath. And then keep your foot flexed, and I want you to just swivel your foot from side to side. So straight. This hurts surprisingly. This is surprisingly challenging, this one. Seems like it should be easy. What you don't want to do is do your whole foot. Keep your whole leg. Your leg should be still. I'm trying to talk my leg into that fact. Okay. Apparently I had it before and I've lost it now. Okay, bend your knee. Place your right foot down on the ground and lengthen your right leg out. And what I want you to do before we do the other side is just tune into the difference between your right and your left hip right now. So for me, that's pretty huge. You're going to now bend your right knee, or you can keep it out long depending on your flexibility and your day and where you're at. And take your left leg into the air. So let's do that 3-pointed flex and point here again. So heel drops, ball of the foot presses, toes curl, Toes draw back, ball of the foot lifts, heel lifts. I seem to be having a foot challenge day. I don't think we ever really require this much detail from our feet, so somewhat understandable. Toes, ball of the foot, heel, heel down, ball of the foot, toes. Okay, and then keep your foot flexed, and you're just going to swivel it from side to side. This time I'm not going to stop, because when I stopped last time, that was when I ran into trouble. Keep your legs still. No rotating of your leg. It's just a swiveling of your ankle, almost like you're swishing the ceiling with the roof of your foot. Not the roof of your foot, the sole of your foot. Okay, so now I'm ready to stop. Bend your left knee and lengthen your left leg out onto the ground. Oh, okay, nice. Feel that nice evenness in your hip area here, your sacral, around your sacral chakra here. The lotus of your sacral chakra, what we're working with right now. Okay, you might want to just wiggle your legs out. You are going to want to drink a lot of water today. We're going to be doing a lot of footwork, and in my experience in my classes this week, people have been getting major foot cramps. So lots of breathing, lots of hydration. These things should really help. Maybe even eating a banana before you do your yoga class can be really helpful for that too. Okay, so bend your right foot in and your right knee in, and you're going to hold on to your right knee. You're going to circle your right knee. So what we're doing here is going for movement in the hip joint here, okay? So what I noticed last night was a lot of my students are doing kind of these huge grand gestures, and their pelvis is moving all over. You want your pelvis to be stable, so that might mean to just create a smaller circle. What we're going for is movement in the pelvis, not movement of the pelvis. So keep your circle smaller. Can you hear those birds? Yeah. We have a lot of birds now. Actually, I think they're probably coming to the window to tell us we need to get them more bird seed. Their little heads are getting tired from reaching right into the bird feeder right now. Okay, so circling. Oh, see, they stopped once we acknowledged that we need more bird seed. Do switch directions if you haven't already. And then lower your right leg down and slide it out. Just feel the difference again between the two sides. Now let's do the other side. So slide your left knee in, left and circle your left leg. So notice again, it doesn't have to be big circles. So I have a couple of students in one of my classes that are suffering from some sciatica right now, and particularly for them, that you really want to keep your pelvis stable and focus on movement in your joint, not rocking your pelvis all over so that those ligaments are always pushing and banging and stuff. So stability. Remember your principle of stabilizing the back of your pelvis. And circle the other direction. Okay. And then you can release your left leg to the ground and take a deep breath. Okay, bend both your knees, place your feet flat on the floor. Going to cross your right leg over your left leg, really open your right knee out to the side. I've been experimenting with this pose a little bit this week. One thing you can do you can bring your left leg in. What I've been experimenting with this week is if I cross my right leg, bring my ankle across the top of my left thigh a little bit more, that creates a little more intensity. So does lowering my leg down towards my groin more. So just check that out, and you choose your perfect edge for today, that not too much, not too little place where it really holds your attention and you're able to focus and to breathe with ease and steadiness. Okay, so release that side. Lower your right leg, cross your left leg over your right leg now. Open your left knee, draw it in. Know that it's going to be different on the other side. So what I was working with was I could cross that leg over a little bit more, even drop it a little bit more. Creates a nice amount of intensity there to really get into those hip muscles, your glutes. Let your shoulders be heavy, the back of your neck long, following your breath. And as you hold this posture, it might be that your edge changes and you need to shift and adjust your posture accordingly. Okay, release. Let's just take your feet wider than hip width apart so that your edges of your feet are on the edges of your mat, and then sway your knees from side to side. And then what you can do is, as you sway your knees to the left, you can press your right hip forward. And as you sway to the right, you can press your left hip forward. Okay, and then come back to center, hug your right knee in again. And this time what you're going to do is inhale, take your right leg out to the side. Exhale, you're going to cross it over but not lift your pelvis off the ground. So inhale, open. Exhale, cross it over. Let the back of your pelvis stay rooted. My Monday night class was teasing me because I guess I said glue like a million times. So, like, glue the back of your pelvis to the ground. I don't know. Okay, and then release your right leg to the ground. Just feel the difference between your two sides again. And then draw your left leg in. Inhale, open it out to the side, and exhale, cross it over. You can see here, I'm going to cross as much as I can, but not lift my pelvis. I'm just going to keep it here. Then release your left leg to the ground. Okay, so make your way up to seated. You can rock yourself up, roll to your side, or I feel like doing one of those Pilates roll-ups today. And come up to seated with your legs straight out in front of you. So one of the things about lotus pose is that here's the thing about the feet stuff too. Don't effort too much. If you really effort, they do start to cramp up. And I know I need a little water. Let's all have a little water break before we start working our feet. Mine are cramping before we start. It's not a good idea. Okay. All right. So be gentle with yourself. You can take your hands behind your back to hold you up. Or you could sit with your back to the wall. That's fine too. You're going to point your feet and then flex your feet. So point and flex. And this is where, if you've got a super sticky mat like me, it's not so useful. The floor might be better, or your carpet. That's much better. And then you can do one forward and one back. Kind of pedaling your feet. And circle your feet. My feet are making a lot of noise. And circle them the other way. Notice what's happening with your breath here. Sometimes when we focus on something like our feet, you might forget about your breath. And then circle in the middle. And circle the other way. Okay. And then just shake out your legs. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is cross your left foot over your right leg, and you're just going to continue that circling, but this time you're going to use your hand to do it. And then you can circle the other way. Okay, and then you can keep your leg crossed over. Now this we're going to do, but you're going to promise me that you're going to be very cautious and you're going to take good care of your knees, okay? So what I'm not telling you to do here is press down like that. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm going to get you to do is lengthen your femur bone away from your pelvis, and you are going to open it towards the ground. You want to cross so that it's the roof of your foot on the top of your thigh here. So you're going to press it down and you're going to draw it up. And you're going to lengthen your leg away so there's no pressing on my knee, and I'm paying very close attention to what my knee wants here. If your hip's not ready for this, it goes to the next weakest joint, which is your knee, and you don't want to injure your knees. So pay good attention, work within the range of motion of your own body. So I am definitely not you're moving in your body, not my body. And I'm sure there are people who will have less range of motion than me, and there will be people who have more range of motion than me. Okay. And then you can release that left leg out. And you can you pick that up on the camera? Can you see the difference between the two sides there? No? From my point of view, I can see that my left heel is sitting quite a bit further forward than my right heel. Let's switch sides. Draw your right foot in, and you're going to do that circling first. And then circle the other way. And then we'll bring your foot as much as you can onto the top of your thigh. You're going to press down and pull up. And press down and pull up. Okay, and then release your right leg. From here, you're going to come to a kneeling position. So this is not going to be possible for everybody to sit like this. A few things you can do. You can put a rolled up towel or a rolled up yoga mat between your legs here and sit on that. That can help a lot. You can sit on a block or a couple of blocks, stack it up, or a bolster. Things like that can really help to lift your body. What we're going to do here is, for some of you, this might be enough of a stretch along the roof of your foot and the front of your ankles. You may want to lift one knee. You can pull up on it as well. You can try that on the other side too. Okay, and then you can also tuck your toes under at the back. You want to lift and spread them all so you're on the on your balls of your toes, and sit back on your heels. Okay, so this is quite intense for a lot of people. You can lean forward to do this, take some of the weight off, or you can sit right back on your toes. Okay, and then you can lean forward a bit. Uncurl your toes slowly. You want to shake them out. You can come back to the roofs of the feet. You can lean back here and lift both knees. So take care of your own body. Do what works best in your own body. Okay, great. Okay, feet, ankles, hips. Here we go, hips. Walk your right leg through. You're going to lean into a lunge pose. And then take your hands to the inside of your feet. Going to turn your body so you're walking towards your left knee. So then to not torque your left knee, you're going to pick it up, come onto the inside of your left knee and the inside of your left foot, and squat towards your right heel. This is intense. This is no joke, this pose. I said that last night, and then one of my students says, yes, this is a serious pose. It's not a joke. So I think it's so interesting, come back center, that when we work with our hips, that it's like, it's messy. It's I don't know, they're tight on a lot of people, and it feels like, yeah, that's the mud and muck that we've got to work through to create that beautiful lotus flower. Okay, this time place your left hand on the ground, wrap your right arm around your right leg. You're going to turn towards your right leg, dropping your left hip towards the ground. So you're getting a stretch all the way along the lateral side of your hip here. You can, and some people find it easier to come down onto your forearm here. Do stay connected, keep your right knee in tight to your body, stay on the inside of your right foot here. Okay, come back center. All right, bring your right leg back. You can come to all fours to begin. Let's do a counter pose, downward facing dog. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Reach your heels towards the ground. Wow, feel the difference between your left and your right side. Okay, now walk here. Oh, we just did right leg. Let's do the left leg. How about that? We won't do the right leg twice. Okay. Okay, lean into your right hip. Keep your left sit bone dropping. I always think about this class I took one time where the teacher had us in this pose for 30 minutes. It was crazy. Those are not good memories. Those would be traumatic memories. And then take your hands to the inside of your left foot. Walk towards your right knee. Pick up your right knee, come onto the inside edge of your right foot and your right knee. You're going to do this kind of half squat towards your left heel. And then come back center. I keep pursing my lips, so just notice if that tension creeping into your body, and keep your jaw relaxed and stay focused on your breathing. You're going to wrap your left arm around your left leg, drop your right hip towards the ground. Come back center, stepping back into downward facing dog. Child's pose is a good alternative if downward dog is not accessible right now. And then bring your right leg up. Oh, let's just do a nice big hip opener here. And bring your bent right leg through. Place your right knee by your right wrist. Reach your left leg long behind you. Fold forward over your right leg. Okay, then step back into downward facing dog or table or child's pose. Left leg can come up, open up your left hip. And bring your left knee forward to your left wrist. Left heel over to your right hip bone. And fold forward here. We could call this the singing hips video too, maybe. Your hips will be so happy after this. That's why I have that DVD called Happy Hips. Okay, so from here, I'm going to come back to downward facing dog, and you're going to make your way up to standing. So down dog is a nice counter pose to all that lunging and hip opening there. And then walk your feet into your hands and bend your knees, tuck your tail under, Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, roll up to standing. From standing, we're going to work with a wall. So I think everybody's house should have a wall of yoga, a clear wall where you can do your yoga on it. If you don't have that, try and make some space. You could use a chair instead, makeshift, see what you can do. We're going to do hastha padangusthasana. We do this one a lot lying down. It's totally different standing up. What you're going to do, let's start with your left leg. Take your left leg and place your left foot on the wall. You want it at the level of your hip bone, and then you're going to straighten out your leg. Okay, what you want to do here is square off your pelvis as much as you can. That means left and right hip bones are level this way, not hiked up on the left side. And also it means pulling your right hip bone back probably and your left hip bone forward. From there, you could do a forward fold. In my body, this is enough. But if you are more flexible than me, you could also hinge from your hips forward. For me, I've just got this SI joint thing at the back here. It just does not allow me to do that on this leg for sure. So you're going to breathe and hold here. Keep dropping your left hip bone. Mula Bandha, draw up through your pelvic floor. Uddiyana Bandha, draw back through from your navel. Jalandhara Bandha, ears over your shoulders. Okay, and then you can bend your knees and release that side. Okay, after that you need to do your Elvis Presley hips. And the other side. Okay. Let's do this on the other side. So right leg could be a different story here. Right leg comes up. Lengthen out through your right leg. Drop your right hip bone. So hips are square to the wall and square to the ground. So here, see, you could do a forward fold here too, but pay attention to your own body. See what works in your body. Great, and then release. Shake out your legs. Okay, you're going to turn sideways to the wall now. So this is the part where when we're lying on our backs, we do legs out to the side. So here, you bring your left leg up. Okay. Great. Good. Now square off your hips because your left hip's going to pull back. You're going to bring it back forward. Also, don't notice my leg was rolling out a bit, so I just squared off my foot there too. Okay. Bend and release. Okay, and then we're going to do the other side. I haven't figured out a way how to do this without putting my back to you. Right leg. Okay, so from behind you can see how much the pelvis likes to lift up and round back. So drop your tail and swing your right hip forward. Square off your foot. And the foot on the ground even too. Lengthen down through your feet to lengthen up through your spine. Okay. Bend your right knee and release. Okay, we're going to do one more thing standing. This is where your block comes in. You're going to stand up on your block. This is where those cork and the wood blocks are much better than these soft foam blocks. But you're just going to swing your hip here, swing your leg. Okay, and then release that leg and stand with both feet on the ground and just feel the difference between your two sides here, and then we'll go over to the other side. Stand up on your block and just swing your leg, let your leg swing. You do want to keep your feet somewhat flexed so you don't stub your toes here. I speak from experience. You can just feel your hip unraveling here, releasing and letting go. And then you can release your legs. Great. Okay, we're going to come back down to sitting. So sit with your legs straight out in front of you. Going to bend your right leg in and cross it over your left leg here. So this would be like a half lotus position here. And then what you're going to do is bend your left leg. Be careful with your knees. You want to feel this in your hip, not your knees. Okay, so more in this pose. For me, this is enough here. More in this pose would be to add a forward fold to this. You need to be really up high on your sit bones. You could take your arm to the inside of your leg and do a loop there. But this is real yoga for real people. I suspect this is probably enough for the average people. The real people. Yeah, nothing average about real people. Okay, and then you can release that. And let's try that on the other side. So bend your left leg in, cross it all the way over. So the roof of your foot's on the top of your thigh. And then bend your right leg in. Oh, it's very different on this side for me. Is it different for you too? Yeah, so you could do lengthen up and a little bit of a lean forward here if that's accessible in your body. Okay, and then release your legs again. Let's just let them have a little. Wiggle out. Wiggle your hips. Okay, bend your right knee. Place your right foot on the ground. Cross your right foot over to the outside of your left leg. Place your right foot on the ground. You want your full right foot on the ground and your full right buttocks on the ground. Experiment with your foot position to make that happen, okay? I see so often feet in the air, buttocks in the air. I want both on the ground. And then you can stay here. Maybe, depending on your hips, you might be able to bring your left heel up towards your right buttocks. But still, you want right foot on the ground, right buttocks on the ground. Lift your spine up nice and tall. Wrap your left arm around your right leg and turn toward it. And come back center. You can still do this if your left leg is straight out. You would just cross your right leg all the way over and lift up nice and tall. This is where all that glue came in classes. Sink down, keep your buttocks connected, lengthen up through your spine. Hinge forward from your hips. Stay on the ground, reaching down through your tailbone and your buttocks behind you. Okay, and then come upright. Release both your legs. Shake them out, wiggle them out. Okay, this time bend your left knee. Place your left foot on the floor. Cross it over to the outside of your right leg. Full left foot on the ground. You can keep your right leg out. Maybe you bring your right heel up to your left buttocks, but still, left buttocks needs to be on the ground, left foot needs to be on the ground. Experiment with your leg position where it works so that you can keep that connection to the ground. Wrap your right arm around your left leg, turn toward it, lengthen up through your spine. And then come back center. You're going to cross your left leg all the way over. You can still have your right leg out straight for this one. Outside of your edges of your feet are on the ground here. So for cow's face legs here. Lengthen up long through your spine. Keep connected to the ground behind you. Reach your navel and your heart forward. Okay, and then come upright. Okay, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. These classes are kind of fun where you take a pose and you work towards it the whole class. So we're going to try Lotus pose now. We're going to try half Lotus first. What I want you to do is sit cross-legged. And then what you're going to do is choose whichever leg you're going to choose intuitively. I don't want to say which, because one side's probably going to be easier and you're intuitively going to go to that side. So you can pick up that foot and you're going to place the top of that foot on the top of your opposite thigh. So that would be half lotus here. And just notice how that feels in your body. And then try that on the other side. So half lotus on the other side. And I do want to say thank you to one of my favorite Facebook contributors. That would be Rondell Parker, who, it was his idea to do the Lotus class. I had this whole list of yoga stories to do, and I said, you know, what am I missing? What other poses would you like to see uncovered a little bit more? And he was the one that asked for Lotus. So thank you, Rondell, for doing that. And I just think it's such a great one to start the whole series with, too. Okay, so now we're going to try full lotus pose. So you'll cross one leg over and bring the other one on top. This won't be accessible for everybody. You can stay with half. This is one of those poses that, you know, there's a lot of things that have to happen for this. And I have to say, like, I'm nothing special. This was just, you know, honestly, I'd like to say, oh, after 10 years of yoga, I could do this, but I actually could do this in my very first yoga class. So a lot of it has to do with the structure and anatomy of our own bodies, what's accessible to us. And really, my lotus pose is not a very good one. You'll see people their toes kind of spill over the top here. So, and then their knees rest right on the ground. But I suppose if I worked on it every day, it might be a little better. So let's try this on the other side. So try both ways. So let's see. That means this one comes up. Come in here, leg. This one comes over. So you probably have a side that feels a little more comfortable, or that you're able to go into a little more deeply. I can really feel this one in my ankles. So yeah, you can see how in this pose, it's an ideal pose for meditation, because you're not going to, you know, if you fall asleep, you're not going to fall over. Not, you know, and this is not maybe true of our Western culture that sits in chairs all the time. I mean, this is just a real struggle to get into this pose for us. Okay, so you could choose to, if lotus is easy for you, you could choose to sit in lotus now. You could choose to sit in half lotus now, or you could choose to sit in easy pose with your legs crossed. It's up to you. We're going to finish with a lotus mudra. So this is baby fingers and thumbs together. Extend all the other fingers. Bring that to the level of your heart. This is symbolic of the opening of the lotus flower of at your heart. And I'm going to finish today's podcast with a poem that I edited. I modified a little bit by Rumi, called Come. Come, let's fall in love again. Let's turn all the dirt in this world into beautiful lotus flowers. Come, let's be a new spring, a love reborn. Find our aroma from the essence of all who emit heavenly fragrance. Like a fresh lotus, bloom and spread all the blessings right from inside. Thank you for joining us for episode 80 of Namaste Yoga. I want to thank everybody who contributes to making this podcast possible, especially my husband, who sits behind the camera every single week. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you so much. Namaste.